Next, we have sports. So we mentioned earlier that sports is a very entertaining medium for many people, especially trying to find ways to entertain themselves by whether watching sports, movies, and so forth. Now, for several sports team, how can you gain that competitive advantage by investing in technology? Now, there have been a lot of technologies mentioned, whether it's body tracking. I think there are several. I don't know what they call this. That especially in basketball, in the NBA, they keep track of your movements. How far are you running? Where are you running in relation to the court, and so forth. Now, there's this new company or another company, Luceo Sports, is offering a software firm that digitizes the playbooks of sports teams. So rather than use the traditional paper or just stationary photo, uh, they're trying to grow their business so that it could expand to other sports as well. So they've started in basketball with the National Basketball Association here. So what they're trying to target is to expand to other sports, maybe hockey, football, American football, maybe even soccer, or even baseball and so forth. Now, what the company is trying to do, let me see here. So what the company is trying to do here is trying to look for investors to invest in the company so that they can expand. Obviously, they're still trying to grow, and according to the CEO and founder Andy Graham, he mentions that he's seeking approximately $5 million to invest in their sales and marketing. Obviously, trying to grow their business is no easy feat, and you need a lot of resources, financial and human capital, to be able to do that. And one of their key strategies or their features is the ability to be able to animate those playbooks, so to speak. So I think they have an example here. Let's take a closer look. So they mentioned that using play animation, so you get the sequence and timing instead of just static pictures. I think a lot of sports could benefit from it tremendously. So it looks something like this. So it's somewhat stagnant, that you see the movement from player one is screened off by player 5, and then it screens the other player and so forth. So there are a lot of actions here. Obviously, with the static picture, for many it's difficult to discern, especially for non-sports aficionados. So their goal here is, I think they have the video. Yeah, there you go. So you can see here, it's a good illustration of how a video, the playbook would work as intended. So let's see here. So you can see how the play turns out, and you can see right away the sequence of actions here. So if you were to be able to implement it, so anyone, let's say you got a new player, be able to insert him in actual gameplay, because obviously before that player comes in, you give him all the playbooks list so that they can review. By the time he comes in for actual game, they already know what to do, what their position is in terms of, are you supposed to screen that player, where do you go after the first set of moves occurs, and so forth here. And obviously in this case, player 4 here is the one inbounding the ball, and the goal is to pass the ball to player 5 here, right? But before that happens, a lot of action has to happen. So player 1 and player 3 screens each other on opposite sides of the court in the corners. And then you see player 2 is being screened by player 5, and then he pops up on the top of the key. And by then, player 5 will have been isolated in the middle of the court or underneath the basket. So by the time he screens for player 2, he can seal his defender so that he'll be all alone underneath, while the rest are distracted while running. So let's see the actual gameplay. I think the Miami Heat was able to incorporate this type of gameplay. And let's see here. Yeah, so you can see here Miami is in the same position here. So you can see here, the two top players here will doing a crisscross on both sides of the corners. They'll run there, and then I think that's Bam Adebayo, who will be screening for, I forgot who's the player. Is that I can't see who the player is, but the player at the bottom will be screened by Adebayo so he can pop up in the top of the key. And let's see how it turned out. So they want you to replace. And you can see here, the main play is actually for the center or here for Adebayo to catch the ball since everyone is spread out so that he'll get an advantage. And obviously, depending on the time limitation, since in this case, they only have less than 2 seconds. So you only have one chance to either catch and shoot or throw it in the hoop and then someone go get it and then put it in the hole. And they were able to do it here. So you can just imagine here, if you're a new player here that's inserted and you're not familiar with the play, that could turn out terribly if you're a player and that the coach will not use you anymore in the future instances here. So obviously the company here is leveraging that. It's not just limited to basketballs, the sport of basketball, but any teams oriented sports, whether soccer, volleyball, even football. I think they're trying to get into targeting NFL since NFL teams require at least 53 active players at a given time in an actual game. So you can just imagine the intricacies of understanding the different playbooks that they have to memorize, implement, and then change within mid-fly. So if you're not adept at reviewing plays, obviously having this technology, the video playbook, so you can see it in real time, what is intended, where you're supposed to be positioned, whether you're a wide receiver, a tight end, a running back, or if you're a blocker and so forth. Or on the defensive side, it's the same as well. So it expedites the process of, I think uh, the future for playbook would be real-time adjustments of playbook. So everyone would have it in their visors if they're wearing a helmet, and they can see the play right away when it's happening real time. But that's for a future discussion here. But I think the playbook will continue to evolve, and whoever adapts first obviously will have that competitive advantage. And will they win more championship because of that? Well, that has have to be tested and proven. But obviously it makes sense because in this case the company is offering this software service. It's a subscription base, so you can pay for as little as $2 per month per user. But obviously they're looking for a more top tier professional package of $15 per month. So it's not too expensive if you're one of the teams that's trying to adopt this, so that when you get, let's say you're in the NBA, you're trying to recruit players, let's say from the G League, and trying to bring them along to your mother team in the NBA. So it's easier for those players to transition. So whether there's little to no practice, once they see the play, they know where they have to be. They're all professionals, they're all smart, so it's easier for them. So it gives them, that even slight competitive advantage that will give them a better chance of winning or losing a game here.